Hi, first graders. We're on Knowledge 4, Lesson 6, Writing in Ancient Egypt. Our first word is hieroglyphs. Say hieroglyphs. Hieroglyphs are pictures that represent sounds, letters, or words. The next word is accurately. Say accurately. Accurate means correctly without any mistakes. And the last word is papyrus. Say papyrus. Papyrus is a plant that the Egyptians used to make paper by cutting the inside of the stalk into thin strips, making the strips wet and then pressing them together and leaving the papyrus to dry. This forms a smooth writing surface. Okay, so this next read aloud is about writing in ancient Egypt. And remember, we learned about cuneiform writing in the read alouds about Mesopotamia. This story is going to continue with the life of the character Merit, and even though this is a made-up story, there are real facts in it about Egyptian writing long ago. So we're going to listen carefully to find out whether Egyptian writing was like Mesopotamian writing. Once in a while, Merit accompanied her father while he went fishing. Late one night, Merit and her father returned from a long day of fishing on the Nile River. They were both exhausted from being out in the hot sun all afternoon and relieved to be back on the banks of the river. Merit's mother was waiting for them along the shore. When she saw Merit, she scooped up the tired girl and gave her a huge hug. "I will sing you your bedtime song as we walk home, my child," she told Merit. Merit nodded wearily and looked up at her mom. When her mother finished singing the beautiful song, Merit asked curiously, "Mother, how did you learn that song?" "I learned it from my mother, who learned it from her mother," Merit's mother replied. "I learned everything I needed to know by listening to my mother. I will teach you everything you need to know, and I hope that you will be able to listen well." "I will," Merit answered, "but isn't there another way to pass on information?" "Well, yes," Merit's mother answered. "The king's scribes know how to draw symbols called hieroglyphs that represent the words we say. Then someone else can come along and read these symbols much later and understand exactly what was written." "But why would we need to write things down when we can just pass them on by talking?" Merit asked. "Sometimes messages need to be carried by messengers over very long distances," Merit's mother explained. "And in the time it took to travel great distances, the messages sometimes got messed up because the messengers got some of the words mixed up when they tried to repeat them." "That is not so good," Merit exclaimed. "Then the person could get the whole message wrong." "Exactly," Merit's mother continued. "However, when the message is written down, there is no chance that the messenger will forget the message or get it mixed or messed up. This is one reason why reading and writing are so important. We Egyptians decided it was important to write things down accurately, so with no mistakes." "That seems like a very good idea," Merit agreed. "So writing things down using symbols helps messengers deliver the correct message. But are there other things that writing are used for too?" "Yes, many things," Merit mother said. "Writing is used so that the important things that happen will be remembered for a very, very long time. It is how we can look back and remember things that happened even before you and I were alive." "Wow," Merit said in amazement. Her mother continued, "So we write to record our history, but we also use it to write down laws that everyone should follow. We use these symbols to write down stories, poems, and even songs." "Like the beautiful song that you always sing to me, Mother?" Merit inquired. "Yes, the song I sing to you every night has been written down so that it will be remembered forever," Merit's mother answered, smiling. "Well, that's good," Merit said. "I love that song." She paused and then asked, "So the carvings on the stones of the temple are a form of writing?" "Yes," her mother replied. "People also paint or write on wood or papyrus. The messengers I told you about earlier normally take messages written on papyrus." "Well, I imagine that a stone would be quite heavy to carry," Merit laughed. Merit's mother laughed as well, and then said, "But now, my dear, it is time for you to go to sleep. We are finally home." Will you sing me the song one more time? Merritt asked. Merritt's mother nodded and then began singing. Before she was even done, Merritt was fast asleep. Merritt's favorite song had been written down using hieroglyphics, the ancient Egyptian way of writing. In ancient Egypt, kings, scribes, priests, and craftsmen were some of the few people who understand the meaning of the symbols. These hieroglyphs, or single pictures and symbols, were used instead of letters and words that we have in our own language to communicate and write down important messages, laws, songs, stories, and prayers so that they would be remembered for many years to come. It wasn't until hundreds of years later that the name hieroglyphics was given to this form of writing. The end. You may now go ahead and click on the Google form to answer the questions from today's Read Aloud.